How's it going, everybody? Eddie Kernan for RexyLab. Welcome to the Guitar Murray. Well, Feliz Navidad, because you know what? It's the holiday season. At least it is while I'm shooting this. And my gift to you is going to be making what I like to refer to as the ultimate Partscaster. This is going to focus heavily on a couple different things. One would be Seymour Duncan pickups, working in conjunction with a Freeway Switch. So what we're starting with is this Strat. What's going to make this guitar so cool, other than the setup, because setup is everything, we're going to focus on the electronics first, but I just want to tell you, as far as the hardware goes, we're going to be using a Vega Trem, which I'm very excited about because I've never even seen one other than this one I'm holding in my hand, in conjunction with locking tuners. And these are Hipshot locking tuners. They work great. They're very dependable. Vega Trem claims that it's like having a Floyd without having the hassle of having a Floyd. I'm a pretty big fan of double locking vibrato systems, so we'll see. But what we're going to focus on first is the electronics. So before we get started on the electronics, I want to explain shielding. You don't need it, but it can make your life a lot better, especially if you're using single coil pickups, which I totally am going to be doing. The reason we need shielding is because we have alternating current in our houses. Basically, it goes up as high as it can, positive, comes down, goes back past zero, and down as low as it can, negative, and comes up back again to zero. That is one cycle, and it does 60 of those per second, which creates that really irritating hum. This is especially important if you're using any kind of single coil. Humbuckers were actually developed not to give us that big beefy rock and roll sound that we all know and love, but they were developed in order to eliminate the hum, to buck the hum. So we can see that the inside of this thing is black, and then I've got these little silver pieces of tape right here. Also, where the jack goes, this is just kind of overkill, but I'm an overkill kind of guy. Big fan of Motorhead. So if I've done my job correctly, there should be some sort of continuity all the way from here to here. So let's put that to the test, shall we? In order to test this, I've got it on continuity. You can see the number 1 right there. If I touch these two together, that 1 should turn into a 0. Paint, foil, whatever, doesn't matter. You've got to do 3 coats of paint in order for it to be effective. If you just go 1 and done, that's not enough. It's not going to be good. So I'm going to touch just 2 parts of the paint and we'll see what happens. All right, it's not a 0, but it's continuity. So now let's touch one of these little pieces of tape here. Yep, there we go. Let's cut to the chase and go as far away as we can. So I'm right there, and now I'm going to touch over here where the jack goes, and if I get any kind of reading, we're good. Hot dog, I'm getting a reading. Why do I have the tape coming up? I have this funky little metal underneath the pickguard thing. When it makes contact, that's going to shield the absolute living crap out of everything. Under normal circumstances, I would just be fast forwarding through this part, you know, and you would maybe see me throwing things together really quickly, but I want to make absolute certain that everybody understands how to do this. As such, I'm going to put a slide up of the wiring diagram that I made right now. Okay, you see that? What this is going to enable us to do is not only have 5 Strat tones, but also 5 bonus tones. And we're going to be putting the middle coil in series with both the neck and the bridge single coils at certain points, which will kind of give us a very humbucker-ish sort of sound. If you just want to see the guitar put together, look at the timestamps and just pick what part appeals to you. But if you want to see how this works, here we go. So when we talk about a pickup, we're just talking about something that has bobbins, magnets, and then we've got a start wire, and we go wind, and then we got a finish wire. Now, part of what makes these pickups buck the hum when we're talking about a humbucker is that the coil right next to it will be reverse wound, reverse polarity. And what that means is that if the top of these magnets are, let's say, north, then on the coil right next to it, the top of them will be south. And if we wind this one clockwise, then we'll wind the next one counterclockwise. In order to buck the hum in either position 2 or position 4 in a regular Strat, that middle coil needs to be reverse wound, reverse polarity. With the 10-way switch, it's even more important because we're relying on that to simulate an actual humbucker. Let me call your attention to this awesome little tester right here. What this thing has inside of it is a magnet that has one side white and one side black. These two should be the same, and this one should be different. So let's find out. Okay, so black, white, black. We got our pickguard fully assembled here, and everything is ready to go. I'm going to tin the tip of my soldering iron because I don't want to ruin my soldering iron. Oh yes, the smell of acrid smoke and horse's breath as we plunge on into certain death. The first thing I want to do is kind of get all these wires out of the way. Now that this has been tinned, I'm going to zinc a little bit off of here, and I'm going to want to tin the tips of some of these things. What I'm doing is I'm making it easier by tinning everything for it to accept the parts when it's time for me to actually put them on. We have what our readings were just straight from the pickup. I expect that to drop a little. Okay, so at the bridge we're showing 611, and that's fine. Let's just go straight to the middle. 606, 606. Now let's go straight to the neck. 620. We actually gained a little with the neck. Okay, so here's the thing, is that in positions 2 and 4, it should come out to be about 3 something. So let's go to position 4. 311. Well, can't nobody do it like 311. So now we're going to go to position 2. 308. Position 6 is going to be these two in series, which should be about 12 something. So I'm going to see how close it is. I'm going to write 12 there. Position 7 is going to be all 3 of these in parallel, which I'm going to guess is going to be about 1.5. We'll see how close I am. Let's see. The next one is going to be these two in series, so it should be 12 something. The next one's going to be these two in parallel, so it should be 3 something. And then the next one's going to be these two in series, so it should be 12 something. Let's see how close I am. The way we access these other positions is we just flip this up. So watch closely, that should go to 12 something. 1184. You know what? Close enough. So the next one should go to probably 1.5 if my guess is right. Huh, 208. Okay, well, a little bit more. Cool. The next one should be 12 something. 1198. Okay. The next one should be 3 something. 312. Okay. And the next one should be 12 something. 1193. So that is pretty cool because it comes out just about perfect. Now, position 7 is a bonus tone that it's kind of tricky to get. You can do it with a push-pull, but almost nobody does. Position 8 is the bonus tone. It's these two in series, the bonus tone from Tele 4-way mod. And then that position right here is these two in parallel, which is a very Tele sound. That's the middle in Tele. Here is the part where almost everybody cheaps out, and it's like, why do all this fancy stuff to completely and totally fuck up the end game, right? So this right here is the jack that came in this guitar, you know, and this is a very disappointing jack. I mean, it just sucks. When I plug this in, that's it right there. It just kind of clips into the tip, and it doesn't even really do a very good job of it. You know, it's not like in there super solid, and these are all the same. So it's like, Jesus, man, you had one job. Now, I used to be a Switchcraft kind of guy. I love me some Switchcraft. Switchcraft is great. But then I discovered these right here, Pure Tone. Pure Tone is awesome, and here's the main reason why. You plug that thing in, man, and it's got it. Look at that, man. Both of these right there. Precise in there. Not only that, but these two little things right on either side are grabbing the sleeve, and that is a lot of contact. Whether or not it improves your tone, I don't care. Because you know what it does do? It holds onto the jack and it won't let it go. But do yourself a favor and still, you know, loop it up, you know, under your strap. Well, I am about to complete this Partscaster, and I'm going to do it by installing this Vega Trem. We're going to set this thing aside for now and just take a look at this thing and see what's in the box. Got some literature here. Congratulate me on my acquisition of the VT1 Ultra Trim. Appreciate the trust, blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, video tutorials on assembly. Do I want to watch those? I don't want to watch those. I want to figure it out myself like an idiot. I'm going to put 9s on, so I want the low tension springs. There's just no cheese on this whatsoever. This thing looks amazing. That's like straight up machined out of like billet, man. That makes pretty much everything that everybody else does just look like crap. This looks like it's going to be just simple to intonate because loosen, and then there's your screw to move the saddle forward or backwards. Which springs did I want? Low tension. And it would appear that just the big thing is that you want to have your spring tension and your string tension as evenly balanced as possible to where this thing's sitting nice and flat. So a little screw in here that locks these things in place, which I love. So not only is it utilizing 2 springs, which I think is very, very cool, but it locks them in place, which I also think is very, very cool. Now, there's one thing that I am concerned about before I even get started. I want to make sure that this coating is conductive, because if it isn't, then I'm going to have to do a little scraping. Okay, some continuity. Okay, that'll do, that'll do. Right off the bat, I feel that it's really important to note that I am using a graphite nut and locking tuners in order to make the tuning stability of this guitar just as bulletproof as I can. Let's see, we got 2 little slots cut into this thing. We got 2 little protrusions coming out. Okay, let's give it a shot. Just like that. That should be ready. Will it just slide in like that, or did I totally screw up? No, it'll actually go in. What do you know? I have no idea if this is the way that Vega Trem recommends that you install their gizmo, but this is the way that I've been doing it forever. So this is the way I'm going to do it. So now what we got to do is find the right size wedge. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it. And the bonus is that that wedge is not touching the table, so good. All right, probably just a little bit more. It's done. It took some doing, but man, this thing already just... That is insane action right there. That's crazy. Yep, and that's already going to be a problem. It dives too far. The low E just drops right off the nut. The up pull is crazy awesome. Let's see how well it's in tune. That's really good for strings that aren't worked in all the way yet. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this thing. It came out really, really good. I like the Vega Trem so much that I might want to find something a little bit more traditional for this guitar and put this on something a little more shreddy. So anyway, let's just kind of get a little listen to the different positions. First we'll do just the bridge single coil. Middle and bridge in parallel. Just the middle. The middle and the neck in parallel. And just the neck. So now we're going to come up here and we're going to do these two in series. This will give us kind of like a pseudo humbucker kind of thing going on. Just for contrast of output, there's single, there's series. Next is going to be all three in parallel. That's going to give us a real quacky kind of thing going on. So let's check that out. You know what? Let's put a little wah in there and see how that makes it sound. Next is going to be these two in series. That's the bonus tone on a Fender Telecaster 4-way mod. is going to be these two in parallel. That is the middle position on a Telecaster. And next is going to be these two in series, which gives us kind of a pseudo neck humbucker. So now let's listen to what this thing sounds like distorted in these pseudo humbucker tones. Remember that the middle pickup is reverse wound, reverse polarity, so it should be hum canceling. It's going to give us as close to a humbucker as these things can give us. Now would be a good time to talk about the Vega Trem too. This thing is as advertised. It's got travel like a Floyd. It flutters like crazy. This thing also has a lot of dive. In fact, it's got so much dive that the E string was coming right out of the nut slot and it wasn't going back in. For a while there I was like, uh-oh, what am I gonna do? And then I remembered that Victor Wooten puts a hair tie around his bass to flip it down and kind of have like a muted open string kind of thing going on. And I figured that would probably keep this thing in the nut slots, and it did. Take a look at just how much this dives. Now, will a Floyd dive more? It should, because the string length is only from there to there. You know, it's locked. But the truth is, this thing dives so much, I don't think you'd miss it. So let's play some distorted lead guitar, first in the bridge position and then in the neck position. The neck. So until next time, you guys, this has been Eddie Kernan for RWRP, wishing you a Merry Christmas no matter what time of year it is, and making the world a better place, one ultimate Partscaster at a time.